Okay, year 11. So we're looking at how to calculate one quantity and expressing it as a percentage of another. Okay, so we're looking at page 4 of your workbook, and we're going to go through some examples. Okay, so you're looking at page 4. One quantity as a percentage of another. All right, so what percentage, if we're looking at this one here, what percentage is 35 millimeters out of 110 millimeters? Okay, so it's like you've got 110 millimeters and you want to chop 35 mils off it or something like that. Okay, so one way to think of it is the original number goes on the bottom. Okay, if that is the original, you're taking that out of that, so the original on the bottom. It's not always the big one on the bottom, but often it's the big one, but don't rely on that all the time. Okay, so I simply go original on the bottom, the other one on the top, times it by 100. Okay, now you've got to get used to this triangular thing. You've got a fraction times an amount. So I'm just going to show you to go that times that divided by that. Okay, the whatever number's on the bottom is always going to be divided, but there's a couple of ways you can go about it, but if you just remember one way. So I'm going to go 35 times 100, and then I'm going to divide 110. Alright, so that's 31.82, give it 2 decimal places. 31.82%. Okay, so if I took 35 mil out of 110 millimeters, so maybe if I've got a piece of timber that's 110 millimeters long and I chopped 35 mils off it, I've taken 31.82%. Alright, what percentage is 650 mils out of 1.9 litres? Now, before you go and do this process, you have to have these the same units, okay? Same units must have. You're wrong if you have them the different units. So we can't go with milliliters and liters, they've got to be the same. So I'm going to call that 1900 mils. Now you could have gone both liters, doesn't matter, as long as they are the same. Okay, quite frankly, you could have converted both of those to imperial gallons if you wanted to, and you'd get the same answer. But that's obviously a lot of stuffing around. All right, so it's like I've got a drum with 1.9 litres in it, and I'm taking 650 mils, so the original on the bottom. So let's assume that was originally there, and I'm taking 650 mils out. So original on the bottom. Now I'm doing exactly the same steps. There is no change of steps, regardless of what the numbers look like. Do the same thing every single time. Get it to meet the same units. The original goes on the bottom, and now I just go to the top, 650 times 100 divided by the bottom, which is 1900. That's 34.21%. So in other words, if I use 650 mils out of 1.9 litres of fuel, then I've used 34.21%. Okay. Alright, Doris gets paid $702 this week, and she spends $125 on fuel. What percentage of her income is this? So in other words, what percentage is she spending on fuel? Alright, so in a word problem like this, you've got to identify which is the original amount that goes on the bottom. Well, that's what she starts with. And then she goes and spends that. Alright, so I've got $702. That's my original. And then we've got 125 out of that. Okay, so 125 times 100 divided by 702 is 17.8. So she's spending close to 18% of her income on fuel. Okay, 17.8%. All right, but that's basically how you do it. Identify which number is the one you have originally. You know, what was there at the beginning. Okay, so if you're going to go and do these, but you know, maybe old mate's got $250, but he owes his mate $40. what percentage of it is. He's got $250 in his bank account, but he has to give $40. Okay, that's the original. Most of the time, it's the big number, but not always. Don't rely on that. Just think about what is there originally. All right, off you go.